Let's go Broncos! Something's happening behind closed doors in Denver that could change the entire trajectory of this team, and barely anyone's talking about it yet. We're not just talking about roster moves or another training camp report. I'm talking about a shift in mentality, leadership, and identity that's quietly brewing under Sean Payton's watch. It's the kind of thing that doesn't show up on stat sheets or highlight reels, at least not yet. But when it clicks, the rest of the league is going to feel it. Before I pull back the curtain on what I've discovered, smash that like button only if you've ever screamed at your TV during a Broncos game. And if you still wear your old orange jersey no matter how the season's going, drop a comment that says, "Go Broncos! We're taking the league by surprise." Now let's dive into what's really going on in Broncos country. One of the most interesting voices in Broncos Nation right now isn't just another analyst or ex-player, it's Taylor Kalmus, better known as Dude Dad. He might have started as a casual NFL observer, but his story is pure Broncos magic. After growing up in South Dakota, a state with no pro teams, and spending a decade in Los Angeles when the city didn't even have a team, Taylor didn't find football fandom until a brand opportunity in Colorado landed him at a Broncos game in 2020. That game, against the Chargers, was the one that ignited a passion in him. And it wasn't during a playoff push or a Super Bowl year. The Broncos were already out of contention, yet that energy, that stadium atmosphere, hooked him for life. That's not a bandwagon fan. That's someone who saw the team at its lowest and still said, "I'm all in." Taylor has since embedded himself deep in the culture, not just watching every game but getting involved behind the scenes, attending charity events, and even bonding with players like Jaleel McLaughlin, Cortland Sutton, and Garrett Bowles. These weren't brief meet and greets. Taylor's memories of being in the locker room, on the field, and building real camaraderie with the team say a lot about how this fan base, and this team, functions. You've got a guy like Cortland Sutton, a bona fide star, running up behind Taylor just to hype him up as hilarious to the rest of the guys. That's culture. That's a locker room that's tight-knit and humble, even with the pressure of carrying a city's expectations. But what's most exciting is Taylor's perspective on Sean Payton's rebuild. We're going into year 3, and for those of you who build things for a living, you know it doesn't happen overnight. Taylor sees that. He knows the foundation is being laid brick by brick. Improvements came in year 1, more progress in year 2. And now year 3 is the payoff. And don't think this is blind optimism. He knows the struggles under Hackett were real. He recognizes that Sean Payton's methodical approach has this team trending in the right direction, and faster than most people might realize. And this offseason? Let's talk about it. Bringing in the 2 dudes from the Niners, he's talking about defensive reinforcements that have everyone buzzing, along with re-signing key players like Cortland Sutton and Zach Allen. That's how you build continuity. That's how you signal to your locker room that you're not just rebuilding, you're fortifying. Then there's the Jody Barron move, one nobody saw coming. It's a defensive chess piece that proves Payton isn't afraid to make unconventional decisions if it means strengthening the unit. Now let's not ignore the buzz around Bo Nix. Taylor's bullish on Bo. He sees a quarterback who learned on the fly last season, admitted to memorizing plays rather than fully understanding them, and now enters year 2 with a grasp of Sean Payton's notoriously complex offense. That's critical. Sophomore slumps don't come from a lack of talent. They come from poor support or stagnant systems. Neither of those apply to Bo. The team around him got better, not worse. The playbook's expanding, and with that comes confidence. The kid who led the team in rushing early last season did it out of survival. This year, he's going to lead with strategy. Taylor makes a compelling point. When you do something enough times, the game slows down. That's going to be the case for Bo. It's no longer about reacting. Now it's about executing. And with that, we're going to see a more refined, more dangerous version of Bo Nix than we saw last year. If his trajectory continues, the Broncos are not just going to be competitive, they're going to be scary. Taylor even has receipts from last season to prove the shift is happening. He was at the Browns game. That electric atmosphere. The game where everything clicked. The moment the stadium realized that the tide had turned. He's been there for the highs and lows, from the early heartbreakers like the blocked field goal loss to Cincinnati to the satisfying silence of a Raiders fan walking out after the Broncos stormed back to win. And if you've ever sat in the stands with a loudmouth rival fan behind you, you know there's no better revenge than scoreboard silence. And speaking of revenge, Taylor's already circled the Chiefs game on his calendar. He believes their time is done. The dynasty is cracking between a suspended Rashee Rice, an aging Travis Kelce, and a weary Patrick Mahomes. He's not buying into the repeat hype. And whether that's true or not, it's that kind of belief that fuels fan bases into something powerful. The truth is, if you're still unsure about Bo Nix after what we saw last season, you might not be watching closely enough. Yes, there were growing pains. Yes, there were moments where he looked like a rookie trying to survive in a league full of killers. But let's not forget, He led the team in rushing at the start of the season because he had to. The offense was still finding itself. He was still adjusting to the speed of the NFL, learning how to apply a complex playbook in real time, and doing all of that under the weight of a franchise desperate for a leader. Now fast forward. This offseason wasn't just another vacation, it was a classroom. And Bo, he was the top student. Unlike last year, he's not just memorizing plays anymore, he understands them. That's a dangerous shift. Because when your quarterback isn't just executing but understanding the why behind every read, every protection change, every audible, that's when a good QB becomes great. And let's talk about this roster around him. It's young, it's fast, it's physical, and most importantly, it's cohesive. Taylor Kalmus said it best. This team didn't get worse. It got significantly better. Sean Payton knew what he needed and he went out and got it. Defense, bolstered. Offensive weapons, upgraded. Continuity in the locker room, reinforced with smart re-signings like Zach Allen and Cortland Sutton. And about those two guys from the 49ers, those weren't just pickups, they were statements. The message is clear. The Broncos are not waiting for success to fall into their lap. They're going out and constructing it, piece by piece. And the defense, let's just say it now, this is a group that no one's going to want to play against come December. And that's critical in a division where every inch matters. But don't think Sean Payton's building this team just to compete. He's building it to win, and not just regular season games. He's aiming higher. Taylor even compared Payton's strategic vision to how he builds his own projects, methodically, with purpose, knowing that a real build takes time, but also knowing when it's ready to scale up. And year 3 under Payton? That's scaling season. And what about the fans? Taylor's perspective mirrors what so many of us feel. We've been through the dark years. We watched the Hackett era spiral. We saw Russell Wilson's time end not with a bang but with a collective sigh. And yet, we stayed. We showed up. We kept the belief alive. And now, that belief is starting to feel real. You don't keep coming back if you don't care. And Taylor, he cares. Whether he's in the locker room, on the sideline, or way up in the nosebleeds, his perspective is the same as ours. This team means something. It represents more than just football. It's about resilience. It's about loyalty. And above all, it's about hope. Even his own kids are feeling the energy. But like every parent, Taylor's cautious. He doesn't want them getting swayed by flashier teams or individual player hype. He wants them to bleed orange and blue. And after watching obnoxious Raiders fans scream themselves silent and mile high, can you blame him? Every Broncos fan has that one game they'll never forget. For Taylor, it was probably that Browns game. The one where everything just clicked. Big plays, defensive stands, the entire stadium alive with energy. That's what this team can do when everything falls into place. That's the standard we're holding them to this year. But let's be real. What's the floor? What's the ceiling? Taylor said 9 wins is his floor. That's a fair assessment given the schedule, the quarterback matchups, and the overall competitiveness of the league. But even 9 wins could be enough for a playoff spot. And that's not just a moral victory, that's momentum. And the ceiling? It's higher than most think. We're talking double-digit wins, a playoff run, and if Bo Nix becomes who Sean Payton believes he can be, then why not us? Why not Denver? We've seen it before. Teams no one believed in turning the league upside down. It just takes the right spark at the right time. And maybe, just maybe, that spark is already lit. So Broncos country, now it's your turn. Do you believe we're heading into a playoff season? What's your realistic win total for 2025? And do you see Bo Nix as the future of this franchise? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and watch the next video on screen. We've got more exclusive Broncos coverage coming your way. And trust me, you won't want to miss a second of it.